Hi everyone, it's LaShonda from Labors of Love with another Therapy Thursday video. Today I would like to talk about this idea that I've been thinking about called unconditional expression. So, if you're like me, you've heard the term unconditional love numerous times throughout your life. If you have a particular spiritual or religious background, then you will have heard that term. And it's often used to reference the kind of love that God has for his creation and an urging for us as his creation and people to have unconditional love towards others. And for most of my life that I've been in and around these spiritual communities, I've heard that. I have very infrequently had people give information about what that looks like practically. And so I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. I was talking with someone and they were sharing that they frequently have conversations with someone else about, do we as humans have the capacity to really love unconditionally? And one thing that helped me kind of put my mind around unconditional love a little better is when I realized that unconditional love simply means love without conditions. And that may have been very intuitive to you, but it wasn't to me. It made it a little more accessible. Do I love people without conditions? Or if conditions change, can I still love them? And that has helped me. I find that bringing in the 5 love languages in this discussion makes it seem a little more practical as well. So, giving gifts, acts of service, quality time, words of affirmation, and touch have been these identified ways of expressing love towards another person. But what I want to invite people to consider is sometimes when we think about loving people without conditions, we think about the feeling of love. You know, I feel endeared towards them. I love them. And just because they've upset me, or just because they've wronged me, or just because they've done something to themselves and they find themselves reaping the consequences of that action, that doesn't change how I feel about them. So I love them. And some people would say, I love them despite those conditions. But what often happens is the expression of love is conditional. So a person may say, listen, that person said something off the cuff to me and, it was rude and I didn't like it, but I don't love them any less. However, the expression of love that I normally give them is often retained or withheld, when they've done something that's upset me. I'm hoping I'm making sense because it makes sense in my mind. That we can feel a certain way about a person regardless of what happens, but the expression of love that we give them is often conditional when we feel our love is not. I frequently see this in the realm of, let's say, addiction. Or some kind of action that a person has that a person does not agree with. They may say, I'm withholding or they may not say it, but they will withhold their expression of love towards that person because they don't want the person with the addiction or the person who has done this action to feel that they are condoning what they've done. And I want to encourage us to realize that unconditionally expressing our love for a person does not have to mean that we agree or condone with the things that they have done, particularly in an instance of, addiction. If I am withholding my expression of love to a person who is struggling with addiction because I don't want them to think that the situation they've gotten themselves into is okay, chances are what would help them feel and build the resilience to come out of those situations is knowing that they have external supports and that they have community. My withholding my expressions of love towards them, even if I feel like how I feel about them hasn't changed, doesn't allow that person to know that how I feel about them hasn't changed. And so that's what I want to leave us with this week. We can say we love people without conditions, but we put conditions around when and how and to the degree in which we express that love. And so let's just be mindful of that. Let's explore how we love through how we express it, and know that sometimes a person doesn't know how we feel about them outside of how we express that. and encourage us to realize that when people find themselves on hard times, or even when they have, wronged us in some way, that the unconditional love that we frequently espouse as this high duty and moral calling is really our ability to show that and express that without conditions. If you struggle with receiving or giving love without conditions, Labors of Love would love to walk alongside you on that journey. Please reach out to us at our website, www.thelaborsoflove.com. You can see us on all the major social media platforms, and we highly encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube video. Until we connect again, be well.